I said, "Oh, sorry, buddy, you're using the bathroom?" He replied, "No." So I opened the door and the freaking bathroom was empty. He woke up and saw a little boy sitting at the end of the bed. He smiled, hopped off the bed and left the room. Mate, why? He said in front of all your family, "Ghost in my bed." It's now in his bed. It was in his room when he said it to you, and now it's in his bed. And you're laughing that off? No. A white silhouette of a person walked by in the door. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Real Spooky Stories, the place where I tell your real spooky stories. If you'd like to share your story, please give me a little email on realspookyStoriesPodcast@gmail.com or get in touch on any of the social media below, or you can just comment on whatever platform you're listening on. So last week's episode was Mother's Day episode, and I just typed in mother like Norman Bates and just found stories on anything that said there was a mum involved, to be honest. So I was like struggling what to do for this week. So I literally was like, why don't I just do ghost? Just ghost. Like that I haven't actually done, just ghost episodes. It's always been like Ouija boards or like something in a haunted house or a haunted hospital, haunted school. I know they're all about ghosts, but I literally was like, why haven't I just typed ghost? You know what I mean? So this one's just ghost episode. So people don't always believe in ghosts, and that's fine, but these are real people's experiences in what they believe is a ghost, or like a lot of them are like, did I experience a ghost? ? It's not like I saw a ghost today. It's like a lot of them are like questions, because we don't know, do we? We don't know what is going on in the world or outside of the world. Okay, and all the stories are linked below, as always, like I always say. So if you want to click on them or read the comments or anything, click below and there'll be an order of what I read them out as well. Of course, we've got a creepypasta at the end. Let me know if you want me to do a creepypasta episode separate and just keep the real spooky stories to a Sunday, and then I can do the creepypasta one, which will still link to this. So it'll still be like a ghost creepypasta or whatever the topic is that week on like a Wednesday or something. Just let me know, because sometimes they're just a bit long, aren't they? And they take up half the episode, but if you don't mind that, then whatever. Okay, anyway. This first story is from Paranormal Encounters, and it is by the user Proverb13. It is titled, "Has anyone spoken with a ghost? Unwittingly, I did on Sunday." Peace. This is the first time experience for me, so it's kind of sticking out of my mind for now. I wasn't sure if this is a good place to post, so thanks. I live in Baltimore, MD, and my parents still live in the townhouse that we moved into in 85. Growing up, other family members would have minor experiences that could be written off. Now I'm 44 and still visit daily. My sister has 3 kids that stay with them in that home, 2 of which are younger than 5 years old. I'm completely convinced myself now that there's a little boy ghost that's living there as well. Sunday afternoon, I was at my father's and I needed to swipe some TP for my apartment. Free, you dig? So I went up to grab some toilet paper out the bathroom on the second floor. All the bedroom doors were closed. My mum was out at church, so it was dark and quiet. I knocked to see if anyone was in the bathroom and I heard, "Hello?" I said, "Oh, sorry, buddy, you're using the bathroom?" He replied, "No." So I opened the door and the freaking bathroom was empty. I shouted to Monk, my sister's nickname, who was in her room, door closed. I asked her about where my nephew Kai was. He was in her room with his door closed. They are in there watching TV. She didn't even know I was upstairs until I knocked and shouted through her door. I swore Kai was in the bathroom and didn't even realise what happened until it was over. Thinking about it further, I realised now that the voice didn't sound like I was in the bathroom, but maybe closer. It was faint but distinct. That's why I asked if my nephew was in there using it. The thing that gets me has happened in real time. I spoke and it frickin' spoke back. A bit of background on this child ghost, if that's what it is. My older nephew had an imaginary friend that he proved to me was real one day when he was young, about the same age as my nephew Kai is now. That's another story if you want to hear it. The short of it, he described him to me as a little boy with black and white striped shirt. He also said he looked just like me. That kind of creeped me out. My father was born with a veil over his face. He served in the Navy, a serious man. He's seen things, doesn't talk too much about them, but has told me about things he sees in the time between sleep and waking up. Calls it twilight. One day, he said he thought my nephew was playing on his bed while he slept. He woke up and saw the little boy sitting at the end of the bed. He smiled, hopped off the bed and left the room. My father shrugged it off, but when I asked him how did he look, he told me the little boy had a black and white striped t-shirt on. That's all he remembered. This was years ago. My younger nephew still has an imaginary friend, but not sure he's so innocent anymore. I don't believe in coincidence. What do you think? Because I don't have many people I can talk spooks with seriously on my end. That's a strange one. I do want to know that other story, and I don't think they've actually linked it, so I would like to know about that. Someone's commented, I almost had the exact same scenario happen to me, but the roles were reversed. I was using the bathroom and I heard my wife walk up to the bathroom door, knock and jiggle the knob. I kept saying, 1 sec, give me a minute, and received no response. My bathroom was on the second floor hallway. I hurried up, opened the door, no one there. I looked over the railing, my wife was asleep on the downstairs couch, no one else was in the house. I think that it's crazy you actually heard a verbal response though. That is strange, isn't it? It's not just like you hear something at a random time, it's like you actually heard a response. But I feel like you saying, thinking back, it could have been closer than in the bathroom. I think that you're just thinking that now because you know that it wasn't someone in the bathroom. If you know what I mean. People are commenting like their experiences on this as well, so if you want to have a little read of them, then have a little read, and the link's below, as I've said. This next story is from True Scary Stories. It is by the user duckies_for_life, and is titled, There Was a Ghost in My Living Room. I was around 9 when this incident occurred. My parents never had fights, they never yelled at each other. This was the first night I saw them fighting. They fought in a little space. It's right next to the living room and it has a computer chair and a couple of bookshelves. This room is just a little connector between my mother's room, has a door in the way, the kitchen, archway with no door, and the living room, archway with no door. My parents were arguing about something like being tight with money and taxes. I was standing in the doorway of my mother's room. I just wanted to get to the kitchen to grab some food. It was a really loud argument, and as I looked into the living room, I saw my sister. She was staring right at me. At one point, she put her finger to her mouth, telling me to be quiet. I thought nothing of it and looked at my parents for a brief moment, then looked back at my sister. She was gone. I felt a little spooked, but then I brushed it off. Then I realised that the other side of the living room was the way to the front door. No other rooms or hallways, just straight to the door. I walked into the living room and looked at the front door. There was no one. I walked back to the kitchen and my sister was there, making some food for me to eat. The thing is, she was in her room the whole time. She was on a call with her best friend and they were playing Minecraft with each other. So how could she play Minecraft in her room, past the kitchen? Someone said maybe she was effing with you. And they've put, not possible, the living room's other side was the way to the front door. We lived in a big house and it would take at least 5 minutes to get to the other side with all the trees. The finger on the lip's quite spooky as well. Like, that's quite, like, sinister. It feels a bit eerie. Especially if you know she wasn't there. Like, that's actually a bit weird. I don't like that. This story is from the subreddit The Truth Is Here, and it is by the user toxic_koala0826, and it is titled, Ghost in My House Keeps Following Me Around. Hi, I'm new here to this subreddit. Literally just looked at a few posts to make sure this was a good place to post this, and I have a little ghost problem. I and my parents moved into this fairly recently made condo about 7 years ago, and I've experienced my fair share of strange stuff, especially at night when everyone's asleep or when I'm home alone. Usually this ghost has been very quiet, but for some reason it's been acting up this past week, and I don't know why. For example, this week I've seen forks and spoons move by themselves, I've seen my clothes move a bit, and I've even seen the same black figure in the corner of my eye. Just the other night, I was staying up late and thought I saw a man dressed in black standing right at the foot of my bed. Once I looked at it, it was gone. But get this, my cat, who was sitting next to me at the time, was staring in the direction of where I saw it for a good while. It gave me the creeps. Just this afternoon, I was doing homework in my bedroom by myself and I saw a fork slide a few inches across the plate in the corner of my eye. I knew I wasn't seeing things because it made a loud clink as its handle touched the plate. I also wake up sometimes and find my computer closed and plugged in. I always sleep with my computer on and I never close it. My door is locked so my parents couldn't have come in and closed it for me. Just last week, I woke up in the middle of the night and found myself facing away from my computer and it was closed. And my door was locked. I really can't see how a computer can just close like that when I'm sleeping. I know this could just be written off as a cat thing, but my cat senses weird stuff when he follows me around. He always looks at something behind or right next to me and it freaks me out. Another thing is this shadow person I keep seeing always looks the same, tall and featureless. I've never gotten a good look at him now. I only see him at the corner of my eye. All of these things could just be me imagining shit, but I don't know. I feel like there's a presence in my home. Samantha, Paul, have you told it to leave you alone? If you don't want it to follow you or scare you like that, literally tell it. If you don't mind it being in the house but you don't like it creeping you out, tell it exactly that. Something like, I don't mind if you hang out here, but when you follow me or staring at me in my sleep, it freaks me out. Don't do that or you'll not be welcome in the house anymore. When you say it, mean it. You'd be surprised how often this works. You have to be serious and you say it with confidence. I've heard this before, you know, if people just say stop or leave me alone or whatever, like, they do. Which is quite understanding, isn't it, from a little ghost, little ghosty. You just sound very nonchalant though about this, like, oh, also I see forks and spoons move, also see a black figure out the corner of my eye. Like you've just bundled them in the same thing. Like, they're very different things, you know. This story is from the subreddit Paranormal Encounters. It is by the user Big Too Small, and it is titled 2-year-old son claims he sees a ghost every night. Hope everyone is having a nice evening or night. After reading a few posts from this sub, I thought I'd post something that's been happening here. Exactly like the title says, my 2.5-year-old son keeps mentioning that he sees a ghost, and it's been almost daily every night for about 2 weeks now at our new house. My fiancé is 26 and so am I. FYI, the first time this happened was on the first night after moving to our new house in Isle. We moved only about 10 minutes away from our previous house. No, the house is not old, built in 2008, and there's been no deaths here. Also, he never said this at our old place before we moved here. I was putting my little man down in his crib for the night, and like I've done every single night for over a year, I said goodnight to all of his stuffed toys in his room, then to him, and then I kissed him on his hands. It's something he's had me do for a long time now, every night. As I walked to the door to leave the room, I walked outside to his room, turned around to look at him with the door opened, and I said, good night, love you, son's name, like I do every night. Now, instead of him saying, night night, love you too, like he always does, he was simply laying on his back, pointed to, and I know this sounds corny AF, the corner of his room. Then he said, very clearly, ghost. I was like, WTF, did I hear that right? So I asked, what'd you say, bud? And he replied, in the accent of a toddler, ghost in my room. He didn't seem scared or shocked or anything, but to be honest, I was a little weirded out. So I just said, you're okay, bud, where? He pointed at the corner again and said, ghost. I told him not to worry, to try and get some sleep. As I said goodnight to him and told him I love him again, he repeated, ghost, then looked at me and said, love you, Dada. Then I closed the door. Sorry, Dada, why have you closed the door? Why is your son saying, ghost in my room, pointing to the corner? And you just went, bye. Like, what are you on about? How does he even know what ghost means? Also, I feel like I'm slating you for closing the door, but I'd also be like, bye. You can stay in there with the ghost then. You know what I mean? Now, before I go on, I just want to say we've never talked about or mentioned anything about ghosts with or around him. There isn't one situation I can even think of that we've talked about a ghost with him, and even if we did, he's freaking 2.5 years old. Pretty sure he wouldn't even have an inkling of remembering or even understanding what we would be talking about. Also, the kid doesn't even know what death is, and I don't think he would just be saying that just to try and freak me out. Anyways, the next day, I asked him if he remembers what he said to me last night around dinner time at his grandparents' place, my soon-to-be in-laws, and he clearly said, ghost in my bed. WTF, lol. Well, we all just kind of laughed it off because we thought maybe he heard about them at daycare during this past Halloween or something. I mean, we really have no idea where else he could have heard about ghosts. Mate, why? He said in front of all your family, ghost in my bed. It's now in his bed. It was in his room when he said it to you, and now it's in his bed. And you're laughing that off. No. Like, oh my God. Also, I want to say, like, you moving house, that could be like a trigger for him. Like, he hasn't, like, he's created like this imaginary friend because it's like a trigger for him, and it's a move, and it's like an event in his life which is something about change. Sorry, I'm not like a psychologist or anything, but I'm like, just the fact that he's like, ghost in my room and all that, ghost in my bed, and you were like, ha ha ha, all around in it. No. Last night he did it too, pretty much every single night we've been here. Now, to be honest, there's no feeling of bad energy here whatsoever, and nobody in either my fiancés or my families have passed recently. Does anybody have any experiences of the same situation I'm talking about? Either hearing someone talk about it, or you having personally gone through something similar with your kids? Would love to hear what people may have to say about this, because not only is it a little weird, but it's pretty consistent. And like I've said earlier in this post, he's never done this at our last place, not even once. Thanks for anyone willing to comment with advice or shared experiences. Someone's put, from my understanding, it's always the house that is... It isn't always the house that is haunted, but actually the land the house is built on. So you could have a ghost there, but it doesn't have to be... So you could have a ghost there, but it doesn't seem to be dark energy. Someone's commented back, my daughter, when she was 2, told me that Grandma Spider came to visit her at night. I said, who is Grandma Spider? She says, Bubby's mummy. What does Bubby's mummy do? She stands over there and smiles at me. She points to the far corner of the room where people didn't naturally stand often. Bubby is my mum. Her mum died when I was 9. My mum's maiden name is Snyder. We had no pictures of her up and didn't often talk about her. My mum still gets teary-eyed at thoughts of my mum could visit her daughter. I don't like that. When she smile at you in the corner of the room, like, oh my god, even if she's alright, like, I don't find that alright myself, you know what I mean? Also, like, I get that, you just obviously don't want anything to do with this ghost and you're just laughing at your kid. But also I'd be like, oh, what does the ghost look like? Is it your friend? You know what I mean? I'd be like, is it a girl? Is it a boy? Is it tall? Is it nice? You know what I mean? I'd be like, trying to get this info because I need to know if we need to put our home on Zoopla, you know? There's another comment on here which is quite long and it sounds like their story, but I'm not going to read it because there's like a big sentence that I can't pronounce. Basically. So, yeah, have a little read. But I think you need to investigate more about this ghost that your son's seeing because it's not cool, really, is it? This story is from the subreddit True Scary Stories and it is by the user Hockey Lover and is titled The First Time I Saw a Ghost. Disclaimer, if you are disturbed by the idea of paranormal activity, this is your warning. I will be using fake names in this story. When I was in 6th grade, ghosts were a very intriguing topic for me and I loved the paranormal, but I never knew if they were real or not. This proved it. I was at my friend's house having a double sleepover with my friends Lily and Andy. We were at Lily's house, who lives in a small old house. Her bedroom is in the basement at the end of a hallway. The house is very run down and doesn't have a lot of rooms. In the basement, she always kept the lights off in the hallway, but kept the lights on in her room. She also kept her door wide open to darkness because the door didn't have a knob, but it never really bothered us. She kept the door wide open to the hallway in the basement and it's pitch black. That would bother any living person. So why isn't it bothering you? I'm actually a bit suspicious of you, Hockey Lover. I remember that it was Friday in December because it was already pitch black outside very early. Around 9 p.m, we were blasting music on Lily's TV, dancing and singing loudly, all because her mum didn't care. One thing you need to know is that her basement door and stairs are also extremely loud, creaky and prominent, so as we were dancing, me and Andy happened to gaze upon the darkness outside the door. Just a blur. A white silhouette of a person walked by in the door. Both me and Andy stepped back, covering our mouths in shock. We were startled, while Lily was looking the other way. The silhouette moved inhumanly like a shadow. At first I thought that it was Lily's mum's boyfriend trying to scare us because it was tall like him. But when we told Lily, we checked the hallway and no one was there. Then I realised the creaky stairs and basement door didn't make a sound. No one was in the basement. Both me and Andy saw it and reacted to it at the same time. Lily started to get scared, well we all did, but she was worried we were pranking her. Nope. Once Lily stepped out for a second, I asked Andy to describe the ghost to confirm. She told me it was tall. I never doubted the idea of ghosts ever again. Oh, that one's quite recent, that one actually, so there isn't that many comments, but that is quite scary. Like, I would have been like, also wait, hold on, you said you were dancing loudly to the TV because your mum didn't care, so would you have actually heard the basement stairs, even though you said they're loud, would you actually have heard them if the TV and that was like dead loud? Because you might not have heard it over it and it could have just been someone, I don't know who, but you know. Well, that was the last real spooky story for today, so I'm going to go on to the Creepypasta segment. So here's a little jingle. Creepypasta. Creepypasta, 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 creepypasta. Oh, I'm going to copyright it for that, aren't I? But it's alright. Right, so this one is from the user The Sad Queen and it is titled The Black Ghost. Sometimes there is no way or place to escape. After a long, hard day, bad life situations, stress, you wish to just drop on your comfortable bed, hugging your stuffed toy, relax and escape inside a beautiful, colourful dream, forgetting all real-world troubles and nightmares. However, sometimes dreams are not a better world as we think. Sometimes dreams can be much worse than our real world. This is the reason why some dreams are called nightmares after all. What if the dream world kills you instead of the real world? The day is done. You are now back home, at night preparing to sleep, laying on your bed, pulling your soft sheets to cover yourself, daydreaming first of all the wonderful things you've always wished for. Your eyes are now shutting down, slowly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The spirit starts leaving your body and roaming inside the dream. The first day, you are walking in unknown, dark streets. You may feel like you have seen somewhere before, or maybe you have been there, but you do not remember. Then now, inside a vintage house, to stay and sit there for a while. So far, the dream is normal, and it feels like you are inside a much better home than your real home. Can you feel this beautiful silence, flying here and there, dancing like nothing can harm you anymore? You wish to never wake up from this magnificent, simple dream anymore. Suddenly, a black figure, a ghost, appears in front of your eyes out of nowhere. And it's not just a black ghost. You feel a very strange, horrifying aura coming out of it, like a demon presence, not just a random black ghost. Your eyes open, panicked. You push your body to sit, heart racing, trying to catch your breath, wondering what you've just seen. What is this black ghost? Why did it give you goosebumps? You are still tired and wish to go back to sleep, but you are too afraid of seeing this ghost again, yet trying to calm down. Take a deep breath, shut your eyes, and wish for a better dream. This time, you are sleeping peacefully with a normal dream. The second day, preparing to sleep, wondering if you'll sleep with a normal dream or have another strange nightmare. Your spirit roams, this time at a graveyard. You can see people wearing black clothes, crying and mourning someone's death, but you cannot see the name engraved on the stone. It is too blurry to see for some reason. After that, you went to a newspaper office, a man writing down the names of those who have just died for the obituary. Your name is on the list. This leads you to panic, wondering if you will truly die or if, as some believe when you see your death in a dream, it means quite the opposite, living a longer and better life. You walk out trying to see a positive view out of all this, but then the black ghost appears once again. On the third day, in this nightmare, you are inside a house with real people sitting in the living room. They're talking about your death and how much they miss you. You are a young person with great ambitions and should have had a chance to live your life and achieve something. You walk around the house, feeling sad, the worlds you will never see again as you lay dead in the darkness forever. Then the black ghost appears. The fourth day, trying to sleep, expecting the black ghost. This time, everything black and white, no colours. Everyone you know dying, everything dying, the whole world coming to an end. This black ghost appearing everywhere. Not only one black ghost this time, but many. They are floating everywhere, now circling you and trying to suffocate you. You wake up again, terrified and wondering what is happening. Every single time the same black ghost appears, and it keeps on getting worse and worse. It is almost as if your fear of real-life issues became less compared to the strange dream. You are too afraid to sleep again. You refuse to sleep from now on. Sometimes there is no way to escape. You are haunted forever. You are dying and wish to have a little rest, but too scared of getting lured back into this dark spot of nightmares. The fear of everything shaping itself in a strange way inside of your dreams. On the fifth day, after feeling exhausted and giving up, trying to sleep as your body collapses on the bed. This time, the black ghost is on top of you and tries to kill you. You are trying to wake up, but your body is completely paralysed. You are between worlds and dream, and yet cannot push your body to wake up. This time, you cannot. That was a good one. I was kind of like, is this black thing like the Grim Reaper or something? And it's like coming for you. I don't know. I wonder what it is. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's ghost episode. I can't believe I've just not done a ghost episode, and I was struggling to find a topic, and then I was like, just ghost. You know what I mean? But I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. And thank you so much for listening. I will see you next week on Sunday at 12 p.m. Goodbye.